First, starting off with SJamesp. He is all the way into the winners finals, and in his one previous tournament, he was a Peoria regional finalist, finishing second place to King Alexander there. And he is rocking, as you said, Caleb, a fairly meta team. Lantern, Annihilate, Dugong, the one more unique pick on his team, and Cresselia, Shadow Gligar, as well as Lickitung.
And if there's any doubt ever that SJamesp got to that second place finish in Peoria by accident, there should not be a doubt after this. No one gets second place at a tournament by accident, and no one gets 2 top 3 finishes in back-to-back tournaments in your only tournament so far by accident either. OutofPoket looking kind of exhausted here, but I think he'll be ready for action soon. Multiple accomplishments here came and fitted on this chart, but they're Peoria regional champion. Pittsburgh top 3, Hartford top 3 as well. Multiple top cuts, 2-time worlds competitor, running the Bastion, the Annihilate, Altaria, Shadow Whiscash, non-Shadow Feraligatr, and Cresselia. I'm
still itching to see more Feraligatr gameplay from Pocket. He hasn't brought it very often, at least from what I've seen this tournament, but it would be nice to see that spicy pick in action. Most people opting for the Shadow variant of Feraligatr these days, but you mentioned earlier, Caleb, a few matchups such as the Shadow Gligar that are more beneficial for the non-Shadow variant of the Feraligatr.
Definitely, and we're gonna have to see if it makes a play or not. I don't think we've seen a ton of Shadow Feraligatr by OutofPoket so far in this tournament. I actually don't even remember I've seen it at all on his stream matches, but this might be the time to bring it in this winners finals. Game 1, SJamesp21 against OutofPoket is kicking off, and it's going to be the Cresselia into the non-Shadow Feraligatr to start it off.
Feraligatr going to be chunking with super effective Shadow Claw damage. However, it is threatened by the Grass Knot from Cresselia. Hydro Cannon coming through. This Community Day move is extremely efficient, extremely strong. Cresselia, a bulky Pokemon, will withstand the Hydro Cannon and get off the Grass Knot here.
And the thing is, the Feraligatr can tank the Grass Knot, even though it's super effective. So let's see if OutofPoket shields or not. Decides to let it go and is going to outpace to this next Hydro Cannon. Maybe going to throw on Charge Attack priority instead for the timing. And no, it looks like OutofPoket is going to choose and opt to overfarm instead, recognizing that this Feraligatr might have a lot of play in the back end. And he's absolutely right. You got neutral, hard-hitting Hydro Cannon for the Annihilate and super effective against the Shadow Gligar. And OutofPoket farming so much energy. I love this play. He didn't throw on Charge Attack priority. He threw one before so that if SJamesp shields, he can throw another Hydro Cannon to force another shield for SJamesp or just waste that shield. SJamesp recognizes how much energy is on it and it's going to have to let it go. And he has to make a choice now. I mean, it's got to be Annihilate that he comes in with. Yeah, and here it is.
Pocket went well past the Hydro Cannon, overfarming so he could land another Hydro Cannon here. SJamesp electing not to put up a Protect Shield. He's going to save the Protect Shields for the Shadow Gligar in the back. And now Altaria comes in, settling for the Night Slash. Interesting play. Feels like maybe this chip damage and the quick pivot is the better way to navigate around this Altaria. We see the quick swap into Shadow Gligar, and as these wing attacks add up, it will start to approach Aerial Ace range, but it's going to take a while for that to ensue. Now, Shadow Gligar going to opt to not throw, actually gets a full wing attack to sneak through as OutofPoket throws the Sky Attack, which draws SJ's first Protect Shield.
Definitely an interesting Night Slash from SJamesp because the thing is, he doesn't have switch advantage now. He's not going to have it later, right? I would have wished that he maybe banked that energy for something in the back, or he could always throw the Night Slash later at the Altaria, right? And maybe even boost there. In this situation, OutofPoket is going to be on even shields, and a bulky Cresselia is going to be meeting this Shadow Gligar. I think OutofPoket, oh no, decides to shield. I like this. He also recognizes that the Annihilate doesn't have energy, so yes, the Shadow Ball is threatening, but you still have to build another Shadow Ball. In that time, the Cresselia can get to more charge attacks than you can.
And as these Psycho Cuts slowly add up on the Shadow Gligar, you just need to go for the Grass Knot. It should be about enough to knock out the Shadow Gligar. Gligar is at almost a double dig, but Cresselia is so bulky. I think it might be able to withstand 2 digs. We'll be able to gauge the damage based off how much this first dig does. Just under half health of the remaining health of the Cresselia, and we see a catch onto the Annihilate.
Really great catch from SJamesp. We see the undercharge from OutofPoket, recognize there's no energy on the Annihilate, so you can get extra energy here. Maybe is the perfect undercharge, just under, maybe could got one more Psycho Cut, but pretty good. Going to force SJamesp to throw this thing, going to throw on Charge Attack priority to take out this Cresselia. The question is, can you Dragon Breath down the Gligar in time before it gets to enough damage to take out this Altaria. Altaria already has energy actually banked, and OutofPoket is going to reach the Sky Attack before the Wing Attack is going to come through to get that aerial ace for SJamesp. OutofPoket taking game number 1 in this winners finals against SJamesp.
Sky Attack delivers the final blow, and what a game to start off this best of 5 series. OutofPoket able to navigate his way to victory against SJamesp. And you know, SJ, it seemed like he was on the back foot after that Feraligatr was able to overfarm a lot of energy in the lead against the Cresselia.
And Feraligatr just looks super safe, right? What do you really worry about? Like, the biggest thing you have to worry about is that Lantern. Lickitung does have the Super Effective Power Whip, but you do a lot more damage with the Hydro Cannon before the Power Whips even reach. And if you shield it, it's actually not that bad. You have the Super Effective Shadow Claws against the Cresselia and Annihilate, being paste to the Hydro Cannon at the same timing. Annihilate gets a Night Slash, but Hydro Cannon hurts a lot more than Night Slash from the Annihilate. So really great pick for OutofPoket in this specific matchup. I think we might see more Feraligatr in this best of 5. I'd be surprised if that was the only time we see it. But just in general, that back and forth in that game showed high IQ plays from both trainers, right? Recognizing what the energy counts for at SJamesp, knowing that OutofPoket is going to get to that grass knot before he gets his second dig, so you have to catch your energy on the Annihilate. And he knows OutofPoket has to throw, because if he doesn't, he gets taken out. So it's a really safe catch for him. And at the same time, OutofPoket going to undercharge, try to get an energy advantage, forcing SJamesp to throw the energy right when he can. But the residual on energy on the Altaria, a little too much for SJamesp to overcome.
And that game was so close in the end. It looked like Pocket was in a very favorable spot after that lead scenario, but SJ played it through, and we've seen that a couple of times from him this tournament. There have been games where it looked like he was way behind. He plays it out till the end, fights it out, and finds a way to sneak away with some wins. So SJ, if there is a player that you think can come back from a deficit in this tournament, it might just be him.
And SJamesp going to take his first loss of day number 2 from OutofPoket. But OutofPoket is no stranger to the stage, one of the most seasoned players, very comfortable in this position. And we are going to game number 2. It's going to be Lickitung into Shadow Whiscash, and kind of, you know, pretty positive matchups in the back end for OutofPoket. Maybe going for the Skull and then Safe Swap. It's kind of risky what you swap in here, because both have pretty hard counters on the side of SJamesp. There is no Duga on the back, but if there is, it could spell trouble for OutofPoket.
In my opinion, it's not the best matchup here for Lickitung. Some people consider it a counter, and we do see the successful body slam bait, but Whiscash able to outpace to these Scalds before the threatening Power Whip, and 2 Scalds is nearly enough to knock out a Lickitung. So SJamesp going to let it go through. Now, is there any way Pocket can get rid of this? Well, it's not going to be before the Power Whip, so Power Whip coming through, but now Pocket will likely have to commit both Protect Shields, an early 2-shield lead for SJamesp.
He wants switch advantage because he has Bastion and Altaria, 2 very polarizing Pokemon, but you get the Scald off on the Gligar as well. This is actually huge for OutofPoket, because now you have really great matchups in the back end. OutofPoket doesn't know that there isn't a fighter in the back, but SJamesp's Gligar is locked into this Altaria now. Lantern has a lot of play into the back-end matchups, but Altaria is going to do pretty well into Gligar, and Gligar is much better into Bastion than Lantern is, so at least OutofPoket avoids that ground matchup into that Rock Steel. This
is going to be such a nuanced situation. The Lantern lurking in the back wants to see that Bastion. However, Pocket was able to preserve some health on his Shadow Whiscash. That could open up win cons in the end game. We see the final Protect Shield used from SJ, and now he is going for the air lays. He has the back-to-back. Will he be able to get a farm down here potentially before the Altaria reaches another charge attack? Altaria approaching. The Sky Attack, is it going to get there? Oh, I'm not sure it would have got there, but SJ throws the aerial lays just to be sure.
Yeah, might have lost track of the energy. It's hard to keep track with that Dragon Breath coming through one turn. But this is the thing. How does SJamesp get rid of this Whiscash? Because the Gligar's the main check to it, but the Lantern's in the back without any energy. Whiscash is for sure going to get to the Mud Bomb, and here comes Bastion roaring onto the field. Swaps in the Whiscash, so this is actually a really great spot for SJamesp, because he needs to get rid of this Whiscash for the Lantern. Can you take out the Whiscash and still get to dig against Bastion? That's going to be the real question here. 1 wing attack, and just barely gets to it. That's absolutely huge for SJamesp, and I've been receiving the end of many digs on Bastion, and this hurts.
This is going to do a lot lot of damage to the Bastion and is gonna perfectly set up this Lantern to the point where a single surf should be just about enough to knock out the Bastion. Pocket has some energy, but understands the Lantern is going to be able to win this matchup here. SJamesp looks like he's going to be able to even up this series 1-1 against OutofPoket.
SJamesp played really well in that matchup, right? No really hard counter to Bastion in that situation. Yes, you have double super effective dig, but the resistant wing attacks aren't doing much, and if shields are up, Bastion's actually not too bad in that matchup too. No Annihilate, so that Bastion could have been a huge threat, but instead just pivoting around, using the Lickitung to grab the shields from the Whiscash. I mean, he let the Lickitung go, had to shield a Scald from the Whiscash, and still was able to muscle through the Altaria, utilize the Gligar. I mean, the Gligar put in so much work, right? And finished off the Whiscash, and finished off the Altaria, and then landed a dig on the Bastion to the point where the Lantern barely even had to do anything.
Yeah, you have to wonder maybe if the pivot in the lead would have been the better play in hindsight. However, you called it early. You run the risk of getting either hard countered by that Dugong with the Altaria or getting hard punished by something like an Annihilate against that Bastion. So it's so difficult in that scenario to make that read. But going down 2 shields in the lead scenario turned out to be too much for Pocket to overcome in that second game.
And SJamesP's team, there isn't anything that Bastion hard punishes, right? Like you said, Dugong has the drill run, super effective against the Bastion. Cresselia has the Grass Knot, and you have the Power Whip from Lickitung. They're not great matchups, but they have play, and they're not walled off. It's not like a Skarmory or Altaria in the back for SJamesP that just gets completely annihilated from that Bastion. So even if he doesn't bring the Annihilate, he has a lot of play into it. So I don't know if OutofPoket's going to bring the Bastion more in this match. Maybe. Oh, actually, here we go. In the game number 3, he just doubles down, brings it back, but this time in a fantastic lead. Here comes the Gligar. And again, not a really great thing that could check the Gligar in this situation. OutofPoket might just stay in here.
And SJ throwing the Aerial Ace right away might lure Pocket into swapping the Whiscash here, understanding it doesn't have that much of a head start, so he's going to be able to Scald before being threatened by a dig. SJ might elect to throw the Aerial Ace. Yeah, going to throw the Aerial Ace on the charge attack priority before potentially getting debuffed by this Scald. OutofPoket is going to allow this to connect.
Man, this is so weird, too. I kind of wish OutofPoket just stayed in that matchup, Cresselia into Gligar, because it was already an Aerial Ace, so you knew it was going to be the dig. And you just saved the Whiscash for the Lantern later, right? As long as you maintain switch advantage, you got a Bastion in a great position, too. Maybe OutofPoket's scared that it's going to be, I don't know, like Annihilate in the back or something. Could definitely steamroll through the Whiscash and the Bastion. So it's hard to say, right, because we see the full lines. But now SJamesP has a pretty good advantage now. I mean, he's taking resistant mud shot damage. OutofPoket's going to throw another Scald. However, he could just shield through and win switch, right? So OutofPoket's not out of it yet. He's actually still in a good spot. Let's see how SJP plays it out. Does he maybe swap here, try to catch a Scald? He knows OutofPoket's at the Scald now. OutofPoket going to double shield again. Maybe he's going to go for some pause action to avoid the catch. Let's see how they play it out.
You know, SJ is going to try and potentially catch. Pocket, though, patient, and now able to position his Bastion where it needs to be, where it wants to be against the Cresselia. And SJ lets out a little bit of a smirk like, okay, Pocket, I see you.
Yeah, he was probably not expecting the Bastion to come through. Yeah, SJP's reactions are hilarious to me. He looks stressed whenever he's up, and then he's got a Cresselia locked in the Bastion, shields down, and he's laughing about it too. But you gotta laugh when you see Pocket willing to bring the Bastion back, even after it had very little play in that second game. But now it has a great matchup against the Cresselia, and the energy on Bastion goes somewhere. Gligar doesn't have really energy, so that Stoner's going to threaten a knockout on the Gligar. And the Lantern, yeah, it's bulky, but the Stoner's just a lot, and you still have to commit Surf to take out this Bastion. Meanwhile, you still have a Cresselia that's almost full health and a Whiscash with a Scald loaded.
Yeah, despite being in a favorable position at the moment, this game is far from over. There are still 2 healthy Pokemon on the side of SJ, and they could very well dance around here in the end game. We're going to see the pivot banking some energy on the Cresselia. There is so much energy to keep track of across all 3 of these Pokemon that are still around on both sides.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a tracker on the side for the caster because I'm losing count here myself, but OutofPoket is not losing count. Patient in these matchups and recognizing that he has the advantageous position, not rushing these charge attacks, and just completely in control in this game number 3 against SJamesp. Yes, it's going to be a charge attack priority, but OutofPoket says, you know what, I just want to get rid of this dang fish so that I can clean up the back end matchup. Let's see how SJamesp plays this out, because Gligar still has a lot of health. If he can get a farm down, this could be interesting.
The super effective Grass Knot and the farm down on the Lantern. Now SJ has a decision to make. Do you come in with the Cresselia here, or do you get some energy on the Gligar? He's going to come with the Gligar. Also, the thing here is Gligar has the ability to withstand a move from the Cresselia. You're more so threatened by that Scald that I believe is banked on the Whiscash. So now Pocket gonna go for the combo play and successfully gets the combo. This Scald will knock out the Shadow Gligar.
And that's such a tough position for SJamesp. He has to predict the combo play perfectly, and that's so hard to know when Pocket is going to swap in there. Yes, you have the Cresselia against the Whiscash, but you still have the Bastion to deal with. And OutofPoket roaring back in game number 3. Guts the Steel, brings the Steel Pokemon back. Bastion, he finds the favorable matchup he wants. Stone Edge loaded, and he's going to take a 2-1 advantage over SJamesp. He's one game away from a grand finals.
The composure, the persistence. SJ is one of the best players I've ever seen at overcoming bad situations, dancing around with energy, and finding a way to win. OutofPoket was unfazed, didn't let it bother him, stayed focused, kept his concentration, and still was able to deny SJ from any opportunity to flip that situation.
And OutofPoket is on top of his game. I mean, just pretty much no misplays throughout, right? Sometimes you don't get the matchups you want. It's hard to dance around, but they aren't miscounting, right? They know what they're doing. They know how to play out these matchups. It's really, you have to just outplay an opponent sitting across from you that's already playing well and just elevating the competition to another level. This is why these two are in the top 3. This is why these two are still on the winner's side in the winner's semifinals, undefeated in their series so far against all their opponents, but only one can remain undefeated in this winner's finals after a few more games.
High pressure, tense situation. OutofPoket locked in very quickly. SJ taking a deep breath, trying to center himself. We take a look at the end of that last game with the Whiscash knocking out the Shadow Gligar. And SJ now with the 2-1 disadvantage is facing the potential of getting sent down to the loser's bracket. We know how advantageous it is, right, to be on the winner's side of the grand finals. You have the ability for some margin of error where you can afford to take one match loss because you get another shot at it. But we are here in game number 4. It's going to be the Feraligatr in a slightly negative matchup against the Lickitung.
And a bold choice to bring the Feraligatr after 2 straight games of Lantern, but there is no Lantern, and there's no real answer to this Cresselia. The OutofPoket is going to swap in the Cresselia. Maybe we see the Gligar counter swap into this after from the chip and dip action, because the Feraligatr looks really strong into the Gligar and the Nihilip in the backhand, so I can't imagine SJamesp wants to stay in this matchup for too long.
Yeah, the Moonblast is coming through here. Lickitung has stayed in, like you said, so that has created a delay in the switch timer. Lickitung is slightly favored in this matchup against the Cresselia. Pocket, I mean, you could say ABA weak, but it's not like either Feraligatr or Cresselia get really hard countered by the Lickitung. They can both manage fairly well, so still staying in. And I mean, after this Moonblast, the switch clock is nearly going to be up for Pocket, so he may be a little bit content with this situation after the negative lead.
Definitely. It is going to be pretty interesting for Pocket, because the problem is you're going to do resisted Shadow Claw damage against the Lickitung. So even though Lickitung's low on health, I like what SJamesp is doing, right? He still has play into that Feraligatr, and he's expecting. He's seeing the Bastion. Oh no, doesn't get the grass out. The one-turn lick is going to come through. Bastion comes in, hard pivot, and now comes the Annihilate. I like this play from SJamesp because you can strip the shields from this Feraligatr. Shields down, the Gligar is going to do much better into that Bastion. Don't even need to bait. And OutofPoket, unfortunately, going to have to shield. Shield's the first nice slash, but I mean, if you don't shield, you get countered down, and the Bastion has nowhere to go. But the problem is you're behind on energy, so no matter what, the Annihilate is going to outpace. SJamesp pretty happy with this charge attack priority against Feraligatr.
Winning the charge attack priority, very beneficial for SJ. Pocket is going to fire off the Hydro Cannon. You're up 2 shields now, right, at this point in time. So SJ going to be content just letting the Annihilate go. An undercharge from Pocket to try and get a little bit more energy. Comes out with over a Hydro Cannon here. And now SJ comes with the Lickitung. Going to force Pocket to expend all this energy. And he is going to let the Lickitung go. He's going to save the shields for the Gligar and try to sweep with his Shadow Pokemon.
And this is a great call from SJamesp. He's going to have to spend a shield right here. But with the shield advantage and an energy advantage, 2 digs is going to be enough for this Bastion. Bastion has a little bit of energy, but it takes a while to get to 1 Stone Edge. It's going to take way too long to get to 2.
And there's no way exactly that Bastion will be able to outpace the Gligar here. It can simply get to 2 digs in this scenario, which will be enough to knock out the Bastion. First dig connects. You see the massive damage. And although it's getting low, no reason to ever throw Aerial Ace here. You just commit to the dig. SJ in a comfortable spot. Looks like we might be going to a Game 5.
Yeah, that's going to be an exciting Game 5 here in this Winners Finals. It's been seesawing back and forth between these 2 trainers. OutofPoket really leaning into the Bastion these past 3 games. And I've been there, right? Sometimes you bring it in, you get it locked in Cresselia or Lickitung, you're feeling, man, this is unstoppable. And then the very next game, you're stuck against Annihilate and a Gligar, you have nowhere to go. Really great team read from SJamesp, recognizing the Bastions coming in. Now the real question is, does Pocket bring it in for a 4th game in a row? I don't think so, but you never know. You never know.
Both players have been able to respond and win the next game after they have dropped a game in this series. And we are all knotted up 2 games apiece. SJ versus OutofPoket, a best of 1 to decide who goes on to the grand finals.
I'm laughing right now. I know you all at home, you all in the audience, you don't know what just happened, but I'm telling you, I'll say it a little quieter. I don't want the players to hear. I don't think they can. They have white noise. But OutofPoket goes back to the rematch screen, clicks 3 Pokemon in under a second. I don't even, like, it almost looked like he just pressed 3 random buttons in succession without even choosing. He knew exactly what he's locking in. I lock in pretty quick, and I've never seen anyone lock in that fast in my entire life. It was literally under a second that he pressed it. SJamesp didn't even press a rematch button yet before that came up for OutofPoket. Absolutely wild. We're going to see how it plays out, but OutofPoket, he has a game plan for Game 5, clearly.
Sometimes you have a gut feeling, and you just have to trust it. Maybe the way that last game played out sparked an idea for OutofPoket, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do. SJ gonna take his time, and I mean rightfully so. This is a high-stakes situation. Winner goes on to the winner side of the grand finals, and the loser will have to fight Trent for that other seat on the loser side of the grand finals.
Yeah, definitely 2 disciplines of action here too. Someone locking in right away, another person trying to predict the opponent. The tough part for SJamesp is, how do you try to predict the opponent's lead when they don't even really know what they let? They just clicked a bunch of things. I mean, obviously, OutofPoket put more thought into it. I'm you know, making light of the situation, but he was ready for this Game 5. And the last time I saw OutofPoket lock in a team this quick was against Shining Dialga earlier in the semifinals in that Game 3 must-win situation for him, and he picked the perfect line for that. Let's see if he's able to do it yet again in this game number 5 in this Winners Finals.
2 very high-level players, too, would be an understatement, and it looks like we have a lock-in, so we are just about ready for this decisive Game 5. The winners semifinal and here winners finals, and here we go. Annihilate into Shadow Whiscash.
And it doesn't get more neutral than this. Neutral matchup, Whiscash into Annihilate, Lickitung into Cresselia Altaria, and then the Gligar in the back as well. No RPS here. It just depends on how these players are going to play it out. OutofPoket is going to save their shield, not going to shield up here. Skull going to come through. We saw a few mud bombs being thrown by some players, Loud Jets being one of them, is seeing it, and this time going to grab the shield from SJamesp. Let's see if we see the swap, and OutofPoket is going to swap straight to the Cresselia.
That was one of those lead matchups that these trainers, I'm sure, are used to playing. Maybe like to play it certain ways. Once Pocket saw no debuff, he's like, okay, I'm out of here. Goes into the Cresselia, does get chipped by the Night Slash, and SJ likes to do this. He likes to chip and then help secure the secondary matchup by going in with a soft counter. Now Lickitung here, gonna try and get rid of this Cresselia.
I mean, and the thing is, if you look at SJames's team, everything's a soft counter to Cresselia at best, or a losing matchup, right? So this is something he has to do, and I love what he's doing, because you know that there's no way OutofPoket is going to shield the Night Slash in that situation, right? And so that's why he's going to just get that guaranteed chip damage, and then now soften it up. Whiscash is still going to struggle a little bit into the Lickitung as well, and you see the Bison going to be thrown first. OutofPoket doesn't shield. I don't know if you can hang on, though. You really don't want to let all this energy go. OutofPoket just barely hangs out, but again, the Lick comes through and finishes off the Cresselia before we get the Moonblast off.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he didn't opt to throw that move sooner, but now the Whiscash comes in, is going to try and fight this Lickitung. SJ is counting perfectly on point, going to draw the Protect Shield from OutofPoket, who has a Scald worth of energy loaded. However, a Scald won't be quite enough to knock out, and we actually see the pivot from SJ, and it's immediately met by the Altaria.
It is not over yet for OutofPoket. You still have the bulky Altaria in the back. SJamesp going for the Night Slash bait. Do we get the shield from OutofPoket? Big shield time call for OutofPoket. Does he do it? He pulls up the shield. The last second is going to be the Night Slash. No boost so far SJamesp. Can he get to the Shadow Ball here? I think OutofPoket's going to throw right before it throws the Sky Attack right at the Nihilip. SJamesp is going to save the Nihilip, get the Shadow Ball off, because there's still a full health Gligar in the back. But Gligar is not going to appreciate the Scald banked on the side of OutofPoket. Let's see how he plays around this.
The Night Slash bait allows SJ to get off this Shadow Ball. SJ is so unpredictable, capricious with his decision making. Going for the Night Slash. Is he going to get there? Not quite before the Altaria gets the farm down.
And here comes, actually bring in the Lickitung, trying to get a little bit energy here. This is actually not over OutofPoket. If he could put this in Mud Bomb range and get a little bit extra energy, he could take out the Lickitung and have the Scald ready for the Gligar. Mud Bomb going to come through first. Can OutofPoket get to this crucial Scald against the Gligar? It's all going to come down to these final seconds. Game number 5 in Winter Finals. It looks like OutofPoket gets to the Scald in time. The question is it enough to knock out the Gligar? SJamesp shaking his head. He knows it's not Mud Bomb. He's just trying to say, can I hang on? Hangs on here and gets the farm down. Has the airways ready. GG's coming out from the words of OutofPoket, and SJamesp just narrowly coming away with the victory. Game number 5 Winners Finals. He's going back to the Grand Finals.
SJ has done it, and he is going on to the winner's side of the Grand Finals. What a set between these two trainers. That was a set to remember, Caleb. That is an all-time back and forth set between two of the best we have in North America.